A special thank you to each of our subscribers who make this channel possible. Here's today's story. In a surprising turn of events, US and Russian officials have reportedly drafted a controversial 28-point plan aimed at bringing an end to the ongoing war in Ukraine. This development comes as Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelenskyy is set to meet with Pentagon officials in Kyiv on Thursday for crucial discussions. The details of the draft plan remain murky. However, it is believed to include significant concessions from Ukraine, raising alarms about the potential implications for the country's sovereignty. The key tenets of the proposal, first reported by several major news outlets, suggest that Ukraine may be required to cede the remainder of the Russian-occupied eastern Donbass region. This would involve Ukraine voluntarily surrendering territories that Russia has been unable to capture through military force. Furthermore, the deal calls for a drastic reduction of Ukraine's armed forces, with suggestions that the military size be cut by half. Additionally, there are indications that Ukraine may need to limit or completely abandon certain types of weaponry, particularly long-range missiles capable of striking targets within Russia. These proposed terms have sparked outrage in Kyiv, where they are perceived as tantamount to surrender. President Zelenskyy has previously dismissed similar demands as non-starters, making the current negotiations particularly contentious. The prospect of Ukraine halting or significantly reducing U.S. military assistance is another alarming aspect of the deal, which could leave the nation vulnerable to further aggression from Russia. Moreover, the draft plan appears to impose cultural changes on Ukraine, including the recognition of Russian as an official state language and granting formal status to the Russian Orthodox Church. These stipulations have raised concerns about potential Russification efforts within Ukraine, which has long sought to assert its independence from Moscow's influence. Interestingly, the plan also suggests that while Ukraine may have to concede territory and military capabilities, it could receive some form of U.S. security guarantees against future Russian aggression. However, specifics regarding these guarantees remain unclear, especially given the historical context of the Budapest Memorandum on Ukraine's Security, which was signed by the U.S. in 1994 but later violated by Russia. The origins of the 28-point plan can be traced back to discussions between Steve Witkoff, an envoy from the Trump administration, and Kirill Dmitriev, a Kremlin advisor. This unofficial backchannel has fostered dialogue between Washington and Moscow, yet it remains uncertain whether the Trump administration officially endorses the proposal. The timing of this plan coincides with a tragic escalation of violence in Ukraine, as recent Russian drone and missile strikes in the city of Ternopil resulted in the deaths of at least 25 individuals. As the situation unfolds, the international community watches closely, with many questioning the legitimacy and fairness of a deal that could compromise Ukraine's territorial integrity and military autonomy. The potential for a diplomatic resolution to the conflict remains uncertain, and the implications of this proposed plan could resonate far beyond the borders of Ukraine, affecting geopolitical dynamics across Europe and beyond. In conclusion, as discussions proceed, the fate of Ukraine hangs in the balance. The proposed 28-point deal represents not only a potential end to the conflict, but also a significant shift in the balance of power in the region. With President Zelenskyy's upcoming meeting with U.S. officials, the world waits to see whether Ukraine will accept these daunting terms or continue to fight for its sovereignty against overwhelming odds. That's all for this story. We upload videos every day covering many different subjects, so hit that subscribe button to stay informed. Thanks for watching.